Make sure I see it. All right. It says recording now. We're recording. Good news, everyone. You get to hear the interview. Uh, so I'm with Ricky Wilson. He does a little bit of health coaching, recovered from Lyme. Seems to be doing extremely well. Contacted him on a Facebook group, or he contacted me with a pretty inspirational and really kind, thoughtful message he sent me that I appreciate very much. And I really wanted to get him on. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, not medical advice. Either one of us are doctors. We both recommend getting a doctor and keep looking for a better doctor all the time. Or at least I do. I don't know about Ricky. All right, so let's go to Ricky. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure, sure. So thanks for having me, Alex, and hello to everybody out there. As he said, my name's Ricky Wilson. I had chronic Lyme disease for a few years. I'm just going to share a little bit about my story. Might get a little bit long here, but there's some key things in here that I want to point out and make sure that I touch on. So my journey started in 2017 when I noticed a small red ring faint on my torso, not a bullseye, just a faint ring. And some symptoms that I noticed were just loss of sensation in my body. Mainly my legs were just a certain part of my calf or something where I couldn't really feel it, just loss of sensation. So like anybody, I went to the doctor. I went to my primary care physician, and I did have her run a Lyme test. I live in Western Pennsylvania in the mountains. I'm outside all the time. So I knew about Lyme disease, but I didn't really take it seriously. I never really knew the severity of it. But anyway, she ran the Lyme test, and it was through the hospital. So it was the standard hospital test, and it came back positive. Well, they run additional tests after that, and I didn't have any bands. So she chalked it up to a false positive. Just to be sure, she reran the test. Same thing, was positive initially. This time it was band 41, but they said that was still inconclusive. I didn't have Lyme, but they didn't know what was going on. So she referred me to an infectious disease doctor. And that doctor told me I might have had Lyme at some point in my life, but I didn't now. So at that point, I pretty much checked it off. She's a doctor, infectious disease, specializes in this. She knows. So I chalked it up to I didn't have Lyme disease, but at the same time, I didn't know what I had. Well, over the course of 2 years, I saw 13 different doctors in all. I progressively got worse. A lot of symptoms that many of people with Lyme experience: insomnia, severe depression, anxiety, panic attacks, twitching. I couldn't sleep for days. I would have the involuntary muscle spasms. It got to be so bad, my wife couldn't sleep with me for almost a year. So I just continued to go on and try to find answers. The more hope I had, the more I got slammed down by, well, we could tell something's wrong, but we don't know what. I had emergency room visits where my blood pressure was 220 over 190. They said, we don't know what's going on, but we'll keep you. I'm like, no, you're not keeping me. That's okay. I'm just going to go home. But it got to be the point where I just didn't want to live anymore. I felt alone. I was tired of suffering. I couldn't believe that there wasn't more to life than what there was. But, and I have two little girls. I'm married, and my girls are everything to me. And at the time, they were age 4 and 6. But anyway, 13 different doctors in all. And I finally got to a Lyme literate doctor. I just out of resources through the medical system. They were starting to throw around ALS and MS. They all looked at me and go, you look healthy. Well, yeah, I understand that. But inside, I feel like I'm dying. And that's not an exaggeration. I felt like it and I wanted to. I was just really at my rope's end. But anyway, I found a doctor who's Lyme literate, and he ran the IGeneX Lyme test. And it came back positive, and he diagnosed me with chronic Lyme disease. Well, it's right. It's nice to finally have a diagnosis after years of looking. And I know people look for a lot longer. But that reality set in pretty quick. Over the course of 2 years, I got severely worse. It's not curable at this point. And what kind of life am I going to have? I'm going to end up in a wheelchair in a couple years. And then a couple weeks went on by, I started some natural treatments. Me personally, I was against antibiotics and things like that. I wanted to just support my body as naturally as I could. And I hurt, and I got worse, and I had some terrible, terrible days. And then my 4-year-old daughter pointed to a family picture on the wall and she was talking to my wife, and she said, "Will Daddy ever be happy again?" And that was kind of like a gut punch, but it also flipped a switch within me. And I just decided right then and there, like, you know what? I am tired of being a victim to this. I am going to beat this. I don't care that it's not possible. I don't care what it takes. I don't care how long it takes. I am going to get better. And I'm not only going to get better. I started saying that I was going to use where I was to be 120% better. So right then there, I started on a new process, and I didn't even know it at the time. But there's a couple key things I want to point out, and I'll bring it all back around in a couple minutes. But from that point, I started to state, like, I don't have Lyme. Lyme has me, and I'm going to win every time. And I started stating that I was going to be 120% better than ever, thinking it's going to take years, but I didn't care. I started to just really let go of trying to figure everything out, overthinking everything. It's exhausting. There's so many different treatments. There's all of this. And I started to really just kind of tune in to myself. Like, if I did something that didn't work or made me feel worse, I just went, okay, that didn't work. I'm going to keep on going. It just became so passive with it. In a matter of a couple of days, I started to feel better, but it didn't last. It's not like it was an instant change right away. I still experienced some very tough days, but my reaction to those days changed. And this is very important. Instead of like, this sucks, I'm terrible, I'm never going to get better, it got to, you know what, this is teaching me something. This is an opportunity for me to get better, or this means that my body is healing faster. I just changed the meaning of things. Within 3 weeks, I didn't even care I was sick anymore. I didn't have the severe symptoms. I wasn't suffering. I was happier. I was seeing things in a different way. And then week 4 came, and I was feeling better overall. Just really just enjoying life for the most part, except I felt weighed down by life. Just my past, just responsibilities, the hustle and bustle of life. And a moment of weakness or a moment of courageousness, I was outside in my yard, and I just said, you know what? I'm tired of all this. And I said, God, I give everything to you. And in that second, I was instantly healed. And it was so abrupt and so definite. There's no question it. I was 120% better. I felt completely new person. And I ran in and told my wife, I was so excited, like, I'm healed. And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm healed. I am healed. And in that second that I was healed, there was lots of things that happened, that some that I can't explain. I know this sounds weird. It was weird for me. I didn't believe in some of this stuff, but at the time, but it showed me that there was a process to what I did. And when my daughter asked me that, I set the intention that I was going to heal. I shifted my mindset so drastically. And I know now that there is a mind-body connection, that the body is a slave to the mind. And when I shifted my thoughts and my focus from being sick or being in that wheelchair, had I continued on that path, I would be in that wheelchair today. I have no doubt about it. But it was the catalyst of my daughter asking me that was the shift that I needed. And in 4 weeks, not only was I healed of Lyme disease, I had no pain. I was healthier than ever. I went back to the doctor, And I told him what had happened. He's like, well, let's run your labs, because my cholesterol was 450, extremely bad. Liver enzymes, over 150, kidneys. When I was going through all the doctors, I had to go to 2 cardiologists, and they had to test my blood and send it off to Boston Heart because my cholesterol was so bad. My blood pressure, I went to the emergency room with air hunger and high blood pressure a few times, and they couldn't tell me anything. It just, you start to feel hopeless and lost. But it was my daughter asking me that redirected where I was focused and my determination. And in 4 weeks, I was completely healed. I had picked up habits, because when you're sick, you'll do anything to feel 1% better. So I wasn't sleeping for days at a time. So I was doing tons of caffeine to get through the day. Nicotine, I had nicotine addiction. All of those were gone. I had no withdrawals. But it was through that process. And it showed me like the ability that we all have inside. All I had to do was tune into myself. But a lot of it is I embraced the process. I fell in love with the journey before it became a pleasant journey. And there's a key to that. So it was setting the intention, embracing the journey, being my own, because I felt all alone, abandoned by everybody. But a lot of that is I push people away too. But it gave me the space to go within myself and find it within me. And I started changing my thoughts and supporting myself and loving myself. And that is so important in this journey. I cannot stress it enough, that how you speak to yourself is extremely important, not just in healing, but in life. And we all have this inner critic, and I had to shut that inner critic up and go, no, I don't care if it's not possible, because it's not like I didn't have negative thoughts that come up that, oh, this can't be done. You can't get better. I'll never get better. Other people get better, but not me. Those are typical things that I experience. But I just said, no, you know what? I'm getting better. And through that experience, I believe that we all have the ability within us to heal. Now, everybody's journey looks a little bit different. I'm not saying the way I did it, it will work exactly for you, but the process is the same. The mind and the body are connected, and the body has an innate God-given ability to heal itself. I've seen that firsthand from experience. And I know maybe some of you are out there shaking your head. No, that can't be. That's not possible. I'm telling you, it is. And it's that inner talking that makes the difference. It's setting that intention. And it's almost 4 years. So that was October 13th, 2019, that I was completely healed. I went back to the doctor. He ran my labs. He did not do a Lyme test. He said, there's no point. He ran all my labs. This is a week later, were in normal ranges. And they weren't even normal before I got sick. I had to get rid of a lot of emotional baggage that I carried through life, a lot of anger towards my dad. Didn't have a great relationship with my dad. I do now, but just growing up, I just felt a lot of anger towards him, towards life. And I got rid of all that. And I found peace, and I found health. And I'm still healthier today than I've ever been. And I continue to get healthier.
Well,
that was a lot.
no, it was great. Actually was really condensed. Because now I'm wondering, like all my other questions, they don't seem to fit. Like, what were your challenges? What were your mistakes? I was gonna, ask you about, people would love to hear about some of the treatments that you tried, because we all kind of learn from other people's failures too. It sounds like you found, the cornerstone that really pushed you over the edge. And I think, sometimes there's a bias of someone who's healed. They're like, oh, tinindazole and colloidal silver, and that's what healed me. And then they'll go and push that. You know what I mean? So there's kind of that last that last thing that pushes you over the edge kind of has a bias sometimes.
Mhm.
Um, uh, oh gosh, and I don't mean that. I mean that in a positive way, not like,
Yeah.
yeah, like what you're talking about is so important because so many of us are sitting at home and worrying about what's going to happen when this money runs out or that money or this assistance, and it's very stressful. And thinking about being ill, trying to get better, is a lot of mental stress. Trust me, you're in flight mode. You know.
Yes. Straight survival
So
mode.
yeah, and that's what's so great about having having you on. So um, yeah, is there anything? Let's see. I'm going to just gonna run through my questions, my typical questions, but they kind of just don't fit. Yeah, like maybe some of your protocols or treatments that
Mhm.
you really weren't impressed with or didn't really move the ball much, or maybe that did.
A couple of things that I think. So I'm not going to push one thing. What worked for me may not work for you. I believe everybody's journey is unique, and I have an understanding of why that is. But a couple of things. Obviously, diet. Diet is huge. I did intermittent fasting. I pretty much started it out of necessity because regardless of how healthy I ate, every time I ate, I felt severe pain or inflammation. Didn't matter what it was. So I started intermittent fasting. That's something I still do today. I've modified it. I only eat one meal a day now. So I fast pretty much 20 hours and then eat for 4. That to me is extremely important. So I didn't believe this at the time. I do believe this now, that everything is energy at a cellular level where we are energy. And I think of food, while it's important, digesting food is takes a lot of the body's energy. If you think of the body like a battery, when you go to sleep, you recharge your battery. With Lyme, that's particularly difficult because a lot of people um, have insomnia. So you're running on maybe a half or quarter battery. While nutrients are important, the process of digesting food is extremely energy demanding. So the more often you eat, the more you're taking your body's what energy you have in your body and basically using it to digest food. Instead of that energy can be used to heal the body. Like I said, I know the body has the ability to heal itself when we get out of our heads and just allow it to do what it needs to do. So intermittent fasting was, to me, is one of the foundation pieces. Now that can be done different ways. It's a matter of up to you. Aside from that, I did blood ozone therapy. I found that to be beneficial. It's something I still do, even though I don't have Lyme. I'll do it like once a year now. I just find it beneficial. That was where they take the blood out of you, put it into an IV bag, super oxygenate it, run it through a UV filter, and then put it back into you. If you're not familiar with that, I found that to be beneficial.
What's this therapy
Aside,
called again?
blood ozone therapy.
Oh yeah, ozone therapy. Okay,
Yeah, ozone
I
therapy.
just
Yeah,
misheard.
yep. So I found that to be beneficial. Um, ice baths. I did ice baths that I found I still do those, and I do those almost every day still today. I find them extremely beneficial on multiple different levels. On the physical level, you have a 2.5 time increase in dopamine. But what I really like about it for Lyme, and you can start this out. I started out in the bathtub with cold water and then adding a little bit of warm water. And then I just, gradually changed. And now if the water's not below 40, I'm like, it's not cold enough. But I just built my tolerance up to that. So wherever you are, take the first step. But on a mindset level, ice baths teach you to be calm in a stressful situation. Lyme is very stressful, very taxing on all levels: emotional, mental, physical, even spiritual, if you will. And I learned through that one, breath technique, learning to focus on my breath, be present in the moment, but also to know that I am okay, even though stress is going to happen in life. But when I can react to it from a calm, peaceful place, it's not stressful. You see the opportunity, you see the way out much easier. So I liked it for that. Contrasting showers, 30 seconds warm, 5-10 seconds cold. Improves circulation through the body, helps the body detox. Apple cider vinegar, something I still do to this day. I mix a little bit with the water in the morning. Helps with detoxing. I add lemon to my water, and I add pink Himalayan salt to my water every single day. That helps with minerals. I drink it first thing in the morning when I get up because the body's dehydrated. So and the body's in an acidic state. So I want to get my body out of the acidic state into an alkaline state right away. So that's why I drink the apple cider vinegar, the lemon in my water, and the salt. So I'm hydrating, I'm getting my body into an alkaline state. And that was very beneficial. And like I said, I still do it to this day. I experimented with, are you familiar with BPC 157 peptides?
Oh yeah.
I've tried those. I tried those even before I had Lyme with like muscle tears. I found them to be beneficial for muscle tears. I took an oral version and also an injectable, and I took TB 500 on top of that. I found them to be beneficial in helping the body, supporting the body naturally. BPC stands for body protective compound. It's found in our gut lining as something naturally occurs in the body. So there's no negative side effects that I experienced whatsoever because it is bioavailable in the body. I'm just increasing my bioavailability. So that helped. But fasting is one of the main things that I really recommend. Aside from that, I did coffee enemas. I recommend them, but that's a stretch. I have mixed feelings about them, obviously, but there's some studies that show that they're beneficial for detoxing. All I can say is I'm healed. Whether I can't gauge the benefits of those, did it help me detox? I think so. If nothing else, it helped get things out of the system. You know what I mean? Breath work. Breath work was because I did not, my doctor never tested me for co-infections. Not sure why. Irrelevant at this point, but he did diagnose me with babesia based off my symptoms of air hunger being the main one.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah, air hunger too. Okay.
That's scary, when you can't catch your breath. It was one of the things that got me to the ER one time. But I started doing breath work, Wim Hof. I don't know if you're familiar with the Iceman Wim Hof, but I started doing a little bit of that. That helped with my air hunger. But it also helps super oxygenate the body and get it over, resets the nervous system, gets you out of fight or flight. And it also gets the body into an alkaline state. All things that are beneficial, natural. And I look at Lyme now like a blessing. I had to start treating it like a blessing before it could be that. But when I did, it became a blessing and was one of my greatest blessings. I am 120% better now than I've ever been. I can sleep like a baby. My kids, I have a better relationship than I've ever had with them. My wife, the same thing. My parent, just everything changed for the better. And I'm grateful for Lyme for that. I look at Lyme like a teacher, not as an enemy. It was the catalyst that I needed. It was kind of raising all these red flags of things that I needed to heal that I'd never wanted to deal with. When we hold on to emotions, that's like toxins to the body. And I had to get rid of all those. I had to empty myself. And when I did, changed my life forever.
All right. And what, just, well, it was all advice. I was going to say what advice but it's like you've given, we've kind of covered that.
Yeah, sorry.
We're, like where would you recommend people go for more information? Your links will be in the description below, obviously. Also like this video, please.
Yes,
And
like, share.
subscribe. Yeah, I don't put a lot, there's not, you're not going to get spammed with a lot of content. I love doing these interviews. Yeah, where would you recommend going for more information when people are maybe just, uh, just starting out, especially?
You mean in general or to find me?
I think we've got you to find you
Okay.
covered.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
to find you, let's start. We should probably do that anyway. It's just, where do we find Ricky
Yeah.
Wilson?
I do a lot more on Instagram and TikTok than I do anywhere else. My Instagram is Ricky_Wilson_coaching. Since my journey has taught me so much, I want to give back. So I became a health and mindset coach. But do not let that deter you from reaching out if you just have questions or whatever. I don't push the coaching. I'm just here to help. If that's something that you would like, I'm happy to offer it and develop a custom program for you. But aside from that, TikTok, Power of You Coach. It's power_of_you_coach on TikTok. And then my website is rickywilsoncoaching.com. So I'm involved in a new project here and I want to share it. It's crowdcuring.com. We're getting ready to launch. It is a all-inclusive opportunity where we're going to provide testing, coaching, doctors. And we know that there's a lot of people out there who don't have access to good doctors and good information. So I've partnered with JP Davitt on this. I don't know if he's the moderator on Lyme disease success stories, and he's in a lot of the Lyme groups. He's also overcome Lyme disease in his own way. So I've joined him in helping others. So that's crowdcuring.com. Provide lots of information on gut health, full body health, just everything. It's the Walmart of websites, really, the one-stop shop for Lyme and chronic illness in general.
Cool, excellent. All right, well, I think that was an excellent interview. I really enjoyed it. Thanks for joining me. Let's cut here. I'm just gonna let's see, stop recording, and then I'll hang out with you for just a second. All right. Something I learned: you do this a lot. Bye, guys.
Oh, see you. What do I do with my hands? I don't know what I do with my hands.
That was really bad. I wouldn't do that again.
Okay,
no,
I won't do that again.
I'm just kidding. All right, I'm gonna cut here. See y'all later, and thanks for stopping in with us.
Yep.